There is no such thing as a bad decision. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli's dad with Project Eli, where we educate, lead, and we inspire. And that is a quote that I was reading from an author named Malcolm Gladwell. There is no such thing as a bad decision. Well, of course there is, but let's get to the point of why I'm saying that. First of all, there are two things that take someone and bring them up to the next level. One of them is to have a very strong why. You must get your Y chromosome activated because otherwise you don't stick to it. There's no big drive that forces you, gets you excited to wake up in the morning and say, all right, let's go. So you have to have your big why. That's one of the most important things, and we've talked about that a lot. I want to talk about the point of that Mr. Gladwell's making here, and the point is that it's critical to have an important why, but it's equally critical to have a system. When you have a system that puts you in position to be successful, you will be successful. Why? Because you're going to make mistakes along the way no matter what happens. But when you have a system that works, then you are in a position to overcome bumps in the road, which once again we all know happen, and people that are successful are able to overcome them. And here's his advice. Never forget that the quality of your decisions is a direct reflection of the commitment that you give to your work. I'm going to repeat that. Never forget that the quality of your decisions is a direct reflection of the commitment you give your work. What that means is, once you make a decision, you decide to do something, and you go for it, and you are committed, you will see to it that the job gets done. That is so important. So you have the why, and you develop the system. And I want to talk to you about one of my mentors that his specialty was systems. And this works both as far as an individual is concerned, and as far as this gentleman was concerned, team play works. All right, so his name was Jeff Waspy. Now Mr. Waspy was, I don't know, 5 or 10 years older than I when I started working with him. And what first of all, let me tell you a little bit about him. Mr. Waspy, Jeff, was not a particularly charismatic person. He's not somebody that when he walked into a room would light up the room. That's not who he was. But he still was one of the most respected leaders in an international company that was one of the top 5 insurance companies in the world. And just to give you an idea, Mr. Waspy would go every day for lunch to this place called Venture, which is kind of a department store where they, where they have these little where you could get something to eat, and the food was just hideous. It was awful. It was convenient. But Jeff Waspy was not somebody that was, wearing all sorts of jewelry and so on and so forth. He was not a fancy guy. What he was a straightforward family man. I think of him as being sort of a Ward Cleaver from Leave It to Beaver type thing, a Ward Cleaver type guy. But I'll tell you one thing about Mr. Waspy. He was a systems guy. And what he would do is he would put people in position to make sales. He was in the sales business. Let me give you an example. All right, this was one of his greatest accomplishments, and he did this 3 or 4 times that I saw while I was working with him. One of the things that Mr. Waspy, we worked with an insurance company, so one of the things we were trying to do, guess what, is to sell insurance. So Jeff got together with a credit union that just happened to be in the same building where he had his offices, and what he did is he spoke with the people in the credit union and said, you know what, I can help you and you can help me. Here's how how we can do it. What do you think? So he said, we'll go out and we'll contact all of these local companies in the Chicago area and speak to them about joining a credit union, which is a very good feature to have when you're a business, okay? So it's a win-win-win situation for the people that work at the company and for the employees themselves to belong to a credit union. So anyway, he made that suggestion and said, we'll do all the work, we'll contact the companies, all you have to do is allow them to be members of the credit union. Well, the credit union says, hey, we're looking for members, go to it. So Jeff we'd contact these companies and establish a relationship, and then we'd establish a time where we would send an individual to sign them up to join the credit union, and every single individual in the company would come and sit on a one-on-one interview to join the credit union. And some of them didn't, you know, just like anything else, some people didn't want to join, some people didn't want to sit down. All they had to do was write out and say, I am saying that I don't want to sit down with the credit union. That was fine, but that was the rule. So either the people had to meet with us or they had to just sign something and said, hey, I'm not interested in the credit union. No problem. But the point is, we got enough people that would come and sit down on a one-on-one. And while they were sitting there signing up for the credit union, we would have a salesperson sitting with them, talking to them about life insurance, saving money for their future, protecting their family, and the fact that, you know what, here's what's great about this, you can do this without even noticing it, Mr. Client, and here's how it worked. Very simply, we would say, you know, if we took $10 a week off the top of your paycheck, would you even notice that? And most people say no. Well, let me show you what $10 a week will do for you down the road when you continue to set aside those dollars. So people would sit there, they'd listen, and it would make sense to a large number of people. He had a presentation that the people would make and show them. And what would happen is most people would sign up to get that little insurance. If you want, it's $10 a week, all right? And then a year later, what would happen is we had that individual's name, phone number, and everything. And so we'd get on the phone a year later and we'd say, all right, you've been with us for a year, let's go out and let's review your financial situation. When is a good time to come and visit with you in your home? So we would do this with, both spouses sitting down at the kitchen table, and the people would, they were already members with us for a year, so we had the credibility. I mean, think of all the things that Jeff put together with this. All right, it benefits the company. It benefits the individual to belong to a credit union. They get to set aside money automatically from their paycheck, goes directly from their paycheck to the credit union. And what we would do as the insurance company is there would be an automatic premium payment that was made each and every single month from the money that was deducted. And then, because we had their name, we could go back and revisit with them and say, well, you have this amount, but let's go over and see what it is you really need. And we do a financial analysis. And I will tell you that that was the part that I took part in, where I was out doing the financial analysis with people, and we'd sit down, and because you had the credibility immediately walking in the door, and you said something that made sense, and you were a half-decent salesperson, 75% of the time I would walk out of there with another check. And the thing about it is the people didn't even have to write me a check, because we could do it automatically, payroll deduction. Now, do you want to talk about a system that works? So occasionally you'd have salespeople that go out that weren't so good. Well, when they weren't writing business, you said, this isn't a good guy, we need to get rid of him, because we knew that the system worked over and over and over and over again. So the point I'm making is, when you are the leader of a company and you can develop a system that is repeatable, a repeatable system, then you're going to be in a position where you can continuously make money and be successful. Now, on an individual basis, when you have a system where you know, as an example, you get up in the morning, you do A, you do B, you do C, you do D, and it's working for you, and it gets you in the work mode, it gets you focused on what your burning desire is, what steps you're going to take that day. That is a successful system. So success comes to those, and I'm quoting again from Mr. Gladwell, success comes to those who embrace the boring days. It comes to those who learn to love Tuesdays. So when you have that why, when you have that burning desire, and you have a system that works, and you're excited about the success, you're excited about making the sale, whatever endeavor it is that you're pursuing, you're excited about making the sale, and you will love, it's not just like you're looking forward to the weekend, I have to do this, I have to do that, all right, but you're excited about your job because you're working a system, and the system is working for you. And so any decision that is made because you have that strong why and because you have that strong system, even if it's a bad decision, you will be able to overcome that. So, to sum up, key points. Number one, you've got to have a burning desire why. That gets you up in the morning, that gets you excited. All right, today's I'm looking forward to today. And when you have a system that works for you, you want to embrace that system. And when you have a system that works, that can be repeated, that can be copied by other people, that is what makes you a successful leader. And because we will never end a meeting on a philosophical note, let's all get out there and charge! I'm Eli's dad.